Welcome everybody to another Q for Teams session, Champions Using Teams Effectively. And we're here to answer we'll really just talk up any questions you may have about Teams or collaboration in general, really. My counterparts, Stacy and Nash, may or may not be able to join later in this session. But otherwise, again, you feel free to come off mute or use the chat. And if you did come with a specific question, otherwise we'll just chat up some things here. And hopefully you can see my screen and see that this is our Halloween edition. I don't have a scary topic to discuss. I just figured I'd throw a little background up there. Christiana, I see you have your hand up.
Yes, I do. Thank you. Hello.
Hi.
So my question is on, do you know if there will be an update to presenter mode that allows, in regular Teams meetings, not Teams Live, that allows presenters to choose not one, but more than one of the presenter mode options during a presentation?
More than one, you mean
Right.
like?
So right now there are about 4, right? There's content only. There's the one where the presenter is in front of, if you will, the presentation.
Right.
There's one where the presentation and the presenter are aligned side by side, which is much like Teams Live. And then there's another one where the presenter looks almost like a newscaster, where the presentation is above their shoulder to one side, right? But at this time, you can only choose one of those formats when going into a meeting. So the hope was that more than one of those can be selected based on the presentation that you're giving. Maybe I don't want to be in front of the presentation the entire time.
Yeah. And so of the 4 you just described, I mean, you can't switch between them during the meeting, right? So you could stop doing I'm in front of the content and do I'm on the side. Are you saying, are you waiting for more than those 4 options?
No, what I'm saying, that's what I want to know. Do you have to reshare the screen to change the mode? Right. Or does it continue?
I think the last time I tried it, I think I do remember having to stop and reshare. So if the question is, will it be a more seamless way to switch between those modes in the future? Yes. Yeah, then that I haven't seen anything for that.
If I can interject, from my experience, at least the version I'm running right now, there's that black presenter toolbar, I guess, that appears over the screen that you're sharing, and it has those different options in it that you can just click on it, because I have demonstrated it to people without having to stop sharing.
Okay. And that's the sharing tray that you're talking about there, which do you know the shortcut for that? Because I always forget how to bring that up.
I can never get rid of it.
Okay. Because I have multiple monitors, and so that kind of goes away for me, and I don't truly have a top of the monitor, to scroll to, because I've got a monitor above that. But there is a shortcut. Let's see. Just use the interweb. Let's see. So that's shortcut, and that's sharing. And it is Control Shift Space. I always forget. So see, Control Shift Space.
Is that a toggle switch so that if it's up there, that will get rid of it too?
Doesn't look like it. So it should go away if it's not pinned. Let me see if I can just throw a little screenshot in for the sake of having something to look at here. Where can I open up Word here and just pop this in so we can be looking at it. So that's what we're talking about. That push pin is what keeps it there. In fact, I'm going to push it now. And for me, so usually what I experience is that it will disappear because I haven't pushed the pin. You're saying yours never goes away. Is your pin like that white, or is is yours look like a pin with a slash through it? Because that would be that would mean it's pinned and ready to unpin.
Yeah, I've never paid close enough attention. I think it's one of those things that I'm so impatient that I invariably move it, which causes it to stay longer than it would have. And what I'm looking for is always hidden by it. It's another browser tab.
In theory, that push pin should control whether or not it disappears. Like I say, for me, it disappears quicker than I'd like, and I have to try to remember the shortcut key to bring it back. It's easier on a single monitor because hovering up to the top of the screen brings it down. With the monitors I have, I just don't have a top of screen the way I would like. But all that being said, so it sounds like your experience, Jim, is that you can, within the same sharing session, just switch between these four.
Yes.
Okay.
Now it's a little odd because I have a total of 4 monitors with the laptop being open. So clicking on it invariably opened up something else on a different window that kind of was what other people were seeing as the screen was there. So I really didn't notice it until in my peripheral vision I saw something moving and turned around to see that it was me in front of the screen.
Yeah. And so, Christiana, you're saying you do not have that experience where this tray lets you switch between, or maybe you haven't seen the tray before?
So I have never seen the 4 presentation modes on the tray.
Okay.
I have seen give control, request control, and then if I don't touch it, it fades away.
Yeah.
But I will look out for it more.
Okay.
And the shortcut again is Control Alt Shift.
Control Shift Space.
Control Shift Space. Thank you. Thank you, Jim.
Put that in. Oops. Where is my... There we go. Control Shift Space. Yep. While we're here, the other thing that's nice about this bar that maybe not well known is, so that's the button for allowing your system audio to be included with your share. I know I've myself at one time, and I know I've run across a lot of people who would assume if I don't hit that button at the point in which I share, then darn it, I've messed up. Let me stop sharing. Then we go hit the button and share again. But technically, you could be sharing. Oh, I forgot to hit the button, and then come here and enable system audio with that button there, without stopping the share or turn it off as well. So nice features in this little bar here. But to me, because it disappears so quickly, I feel like it's not as known. Because by default it kind of vanishes, and again, if you're multi-monitor, it's kind of hard to bring it back, or maybe hard to bring it back. So yeah, so that's good stuff. So yeah, but to the question of well, I guess that wasn't your question, whether there'll be more of these modes. I certainly haven't heard that. But yeah, it'd be interesting to hear if people are having good experiences with these modes. For me, for instance, some of these squares are a little small. I mean, not certainly being over top of it, you get the full view of your content. These other ones are small enough that I feel like I need to adjust my content to know that I'm going to be presenting it in a smaller than normal box, right? So fonts need to be bigger, things like that. I don't know if you guys have had the same experience, basically adjusting your content either for the smaller box or adjusting it for the fact of knowing your head's going to be in the way of on the lower right corner. So making sure there's no important content there. To me, that's kind of the new nuances that these modes bring to the table. So good stuff there. I see in the chat about a question about OneNote. I'll try to read it here. Let's see. Inserted a template into one. I like to fill it out with a Surface Pen. I love Surface Pen, so I'm all into this question. So then change it from ink to text. But when I do, the words do not stay on the template where I wrote them, but move around on the document. I'm wondering if there's a way to keep the format of where I wrote the original words, but still be able to convert it to text. Yeah, I would think hopefully at least you convert it to text. It may move somewhere wonky, but you could kind of just move it down to where you want. But yeah, at that point, it's a floating square of text. Yeah, I'm not sure if you got too many options about controlling like where that's going to go. So yes, for those that may not have done this before, yes, you do handwriting in OneNote. OneNote, you select that handwriting, it can turn it into the resulting text. I probably have said this on this session before. I'm a big fan of OneNote and the Surface Pen or pens in general. But I leave my pen writings in handwriting because even in their handwriting mode, OneNote can still read them. So if I was searching for something that I wrote, I can search for that word and it would still find my handwriting. So you're saying it's a 2.5 page document of writing, I guess. So, okay, so you want to convert that to text, make it a little smaller. Gotcha. Yep. So yeah, I don't know that you got too many controls from that perspective for it to kind of stay right where the text is. I was thinking about, I don't know if switching to whiteboard app is an option, but it might be a little more smart about text versus handwriting. I don't know. I know handwriting on the whiteboard, sticky notes does stick and it gets moved around together. So that might be an option. But yeah, in general, I don't think there's probably too many options for kind of making that text, that converted ink, be at a certain spot, but hopefully you can just move it after the fact. Awesome. Any other questions out there? I see we got several folks out there today. If this is your first time to this session, welcome. It's enough of you that I can't see all the names at a glance. Anybody? I see a hand up from Renee. You can.
Sorry,
yep.
I had to unmute. Thank you. I had a question. So reading through the updates for the government version, it shows that we'll have the new breakout rooms, getting it prepped early on page 64, and it says it will be updated, rollout mid-October through late October. I looked yesterday and I don't see that breakout rooms, the pre-meeting room assignment update yet. Do you know anything about that?
I would always say rule of thumb, lean towards the latter part of the range they give. So, one could argue in theory, we still got, a few hours today for that to hit. But I would probably more so start looking for it next week, just to be sure. So yeah, if you were telling me something that said end of September, then I'd really be wondering about that. But for something where we're technically still in the window, I would just say give it some time.
Okay, I was just curious. We have a lot of people asking about that,
yeah.
So I just wanted to.
Yeah, but it's a great feature. For those unaware, yes, the breakout rooms that from Teams get more functionality for, more flexibility, whether it be, and the one we're specifically talking about is being able to prep those rooms ahead of time. I personally actually have been in several meetings, large meetings, where breakouts were a key part of the meeting. So I know those folks are going to certainly welcome that, because get 100 people in a room or something and trying to do 5 people per room, that gets a little cumbersome.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be a great feature.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, to me, that is a good rule of thumb, even for things you see on the public roadmap. It's just, just understanding that those dates, one could be optimistic and say it'd be early. It might be a less stressful in your life if you just assume it'll be more on the latter half before start ringing the alarms. So that's just been my experience. And folks, I say, are awaiting Teams meeting attendance report. Yep. Awesome. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, definitely some good stuff coming, especially throughout this calendar year. So I think November, December, according to those roadmaps, have a lot of things that are hitting before the year ends. So yeah, it's good stuff. Any other questions out there? Let me ask, maybe by show of thumbs up, are a lot of people doing recording your meetings? I know I've seen some orgs where that's kind of frowned upon, and others where it's used all the time. Anybody by show of thumbs up do a lot of meeting recordings? Okay, so only a couple of you, really. Okay. Let's see a thumbs
I'm sorry,
up.
I missed the question.
The question was whether you do record your team's meetings regularly, if in your org that's a thing, or if it's frowned upon. Okay, so we got one thumbs down, we got a few thumbs up, and one of you okay, you're waiting for the expiration feature before you start doing that. Okay, yep, I can see that. Yeah, so that and I was thinking about that just because there is a shift from that being recorded in the stream and now into OneDrive instead, and some differences and some advantages to that from a sharing perspective. Okay, your org prohibits recording. Okay. Okay. We're testing sharing now. Yep. All right. Yeah. So for those that were heavy into recording, one of the challenges was sharing externally. So OneDrive will give you a few more options there. One downside is Stream was doing that auto transcribing, but we are bringing transcription into Teams as well. So this is all these nuances. So yeah, for the orgs that are heavy into recording meetings, certainly have some features there that are going to make that more interesting. If you're not recording, then you're all good. But my calendar most of the times is double booked all the time. So a lot of times I depend on meeting recordings to go catch up on something. From a meeting I wasn't able to attend. So interesting. Yes, Kimberly.
So we've been testing recording. We're hoping to enable it soon in our environment, but our legal department has a lot of concerns with recording. And we've been doing testing. What we've noticed is in the documentation of Microsoft, it says the meeting organizer has full rights to the recording. But we found is if someone who's not the meeting organizer, like whoever hits that button, record button, that's whose OneDrive the recording goes into. And so that's really the person that has full rights to the recording. And the meeting organizer, like if they wanted to share that with someone outside the meeting, they'd have to go to that person and hit the record button. At least that's how it's working for us. I don't know if that's how it's working for other people, but we're just trying to figure out those nuances of who's got access, who can give access, who can share, because our legal department has so many questions.
Yeah. And then the other question I usually hear too is then, so it's in OneDrive, but that's not really the best place for long-term storage. So then where do we move it? And now that we upload it manually into Stream, or do we auto expire it as we're talking about? So yeah, definitely different questions related to that. I like the fact that we're just adding more options though. So depending on whatever route you want to go, you can do that. Some people are still using Stream as their main repository for videos. I've heard the ask, well, is there an easy button to kind of get that OneDrive video back in the Stream, which I don't think there is today, but at least there is the option to manually upload there, and then of course get the Stream specific features related to the recording as well. Christiane, do you have a comment, question?
Yes, but it's for Teams Live.
Okay, I'm happy to switch topics.
No, are you finished on?
Yeah, it was just a general
okay.
thought about meeting recordings, and given that most of you aren't doing a lot of meeting recordings, then no need to deep dive on that.
Right. So we use Teams Live a lot in my agency so that we can do outreach, public outreach. And sometimes we have a panel of people that we would like to present at the same time. But at this current time on Teams Live, we are limited to one presenter at a time. Is there anything in the pipeline for more than one presenter to be on screen?
So first way to answer that, like officially, is there a Teams Live events feature for multiple presenters? I haven't seen that. If Nash or Stacy end up coming on, they might be able to answer, but I haven't seen that specifically. You certainly have it in a normal Teams meeting. You could pin and spotlight and all that good. Well, you could spotlight, but again, if you're using live event for large scale, that's not going to help. What I'll say is usually can the live event technology handle it from a perspective of, get your AV folks and do some all the encoding kind of thing. Yes, I've certainly seen live events where you've got multiple presenters, but they're not using any easy button on live events to do that. They're kind of doing some encoding, the kind of things.
They're doing meeting in a meeting.
Well, no, it's not even. So that was going to be the next thing I was going to say. The hack would be to share a person's meeting where they're showing them. That is the hack that I have seen my customers use pretty successfully, actually. Yeah, from the end user's perspective, they can barely tell. But yes, that's the hack, is to just show one of the presenters showing their meeting and just make sure they, show the right people and all that good stuff. That's the hack. But an official native feature for that, haven't heard of coming. And then in between that is just the more elegant solution that does involve, some folks that understand AV kind of things, encoders or whatever, to basically get a different video feed in that is breaking those out. So I've seen demos of that too, and that can be done very beautifully, but it is not it is not an easy button for that. It's someone that kind of knows how to do that whole video magic, So there is a yes answer for those multiple views in a live event, but it is not an easy button on your typical end users like producer screen. So I don't know if that's a good answer. You got a hack, you could do it a hacky way, do it a complex way, but today you can't do it an easy button way.
Could that be a bring back? Can you take it back?
Yeah.
Request, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Any other spooky questions for today?
I have another.
Do you have any Ignite previews for next week? Or do you expect any really cool things to come out of it?
I mean, they tend to not disappoint on Ignite. I think you'll continue to see more hybrid, from a team's perspective, more hybrid meeting stuff, right? Where, we're all in on supporting this new world we're in. So I think you'll probably see a lot of that. But yeah, I don't have an inside track to know, watch out, be looking for session number 14 to, hear this super cool announcement. I don't know anything about that. And to the question, the Chat Ignite is our, I put it up in the screen, our yearly big conference where a lot of announcements are made about, things upcoming. And it has in the past been something that, you fly to Vegas for and pay some money for. And of course, these days it is virtual. So go to myignite.microsoft.com and register. And I'm wondering if this video would be a good little sample, but it is. But yeah, it's not just Teams. It's kind of all things Microsoft. So yeah, very good spot if you like to get up to the minute, what's going on and even what's coming. A lot of things would be announced that you're not going to move on as an org the next day, but it will definitely keep you up to date on the innovations that are coming. I suspect to see a lot of Viva stuff talked about, Teams, hybrid meetings, things like that. I'll put this link in the chat as well. So yeah, but no insider track there. Did someone else have a question? I thought I saw a hand. Okay. Awesome. I'm glad we could connect today, and we'll be back at it next week. Just heads up, I'm sure that week of Thanksgiving, don't be surprised to see, you hit the link and see, see you next week kind of thing. But other than that, we're planning to be here every week. Okay. Any other questions, thoughts, comments?
Webinar. Right. So webinar was supposed to be sort of like a Teams Live, but it was named webinar. Is there any more details on that?
So typically what webinar is basically a Teams meeting with registration capabilities is how I look at it. More so a Teams meeting complement more so than a live event complement. And so like if we, I'd have to switch to my commercial tenant, but yeah, you can schedule a meeting, a webinar, or a live event. And if you do webinar, you're going to get a normal Teams meeting, but you're also going to get this capability to say, yes, people need to register and, all that good stuff. So it's really centered around the registration and presenting that meeting in a webinar kind of fashion, but it's, I don't see it as a complement or augment to the live event. It's more augment to the Teams meeting. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
And to the other question in chat, can you save a doc in OneNote as a PDF? Oh, in OneNote as a PDF. I'm not sure what that. Save a doc in OneNote as a PDF. I don't know if I understand that question. Okay, you found it. All right, great. Awesome. All right. Well, good stuff. I'll give you 30 seconds back. We'll pick us up next week, next Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Good to see y'all.